This is a new motor, the replacement motor. You're going to start reassembling. You start with the small gear. You slide that on, making sure that your grub screw lands up over the flat spot. You then check your measurement. At least supposed to be. I can double check this way if I haven't got the cover on, and I can actually see very quickly that it's too high. It just has to be a mil or so above. That's correct, and that should correspond in any case with the measurement that I made. Oops, daisy. Oh, there we go. Check. Yes, exactly. Perfect. Okay, so that ties up. Now you're going to put some Loctite in or onto the thread of this grub screw. Check on the inside that you can see the flat spot, that the hole is over the flat spot. Put a drop of, oopsie daisy, too much of a drop, big drop. Okay, and then grab screen, make sure you don't cross thread, and then you just wind that all the way down to the bottom. As I said, this, I think it's called a thorax head, that works very, very well. It seems to hold the grub screw better than the regular Allen key. Right, there we go, happy with that. Give it a little wipe. Okay, now we start this way, that can come out for now. What all we want to do is get 2 screws in here before we do the meshing. So there'll be one there. No Loctite to start. We just put the two screws in like that. Don't tighten them, just up to there and bring it back a little, up to there and bring it back a little, so that the box can slide around. Right, now we're making sure that you've got this little fiber thrust washer here on the end of the gear, like so. Place it in, double check with your finger, 1 millimeter gap, and now you're looking for the meshing. There mustn't be a huge backlash like that, so you are going to slide the motor towards the gear, and too much I can see, about like that. Now, the problem with any spur gears, and depending on who makes them, there can be a high side, so it may be okay there, so I've got just the right amount of play there, but when I rotate it, you may find that it's got a little tighter there, and yeah, it's still tightish. So I was obviously at the lowest point. A good gear, really, it should be the same all the way around, but very, very hard to come by. These are more chunky. They're not spiral, fine teeth gears. They are chunky, hard-working spur gears. But we use them because we find that they last better for our application. So that looked to me to be just a hair too tight. But you might have to do this a few times until you're satisfied. But once you're happy that you've got a similar gap all the way around, that there is some play, then lock those 2 screws into place. And now you're going to actually run the motor before you completely assemble it, to know that you've got it right. And you want to listen to the sound of the meshing. If it's very tight, it's going to make a clucking sound. And if it were too loose, it would be quite a rattly sound. That seems to be okay. Let's try it like that for now. So with those with those 2 tight, we're going to actually run this motor. Okay, so we're going to connect the motor leads. You'll see there are 3. Hard to know which goes where, but essentially, if you put them the wrong way, if the motor runs in the wrong direction, you just change any 2. So just take a guess like that. That seems to fit okay, like so. Now, this is the lead. This is the pair of wires that goes to the switch. Be very careful, that goes to the meter. those cannot be shorted. They won't short as they lay here because they're male and female and it's insulated. Similar thing here, except that these you're going to short up because this is the switch. So we can connect these together like that, and you'll actually turn the boat on or the panel on. So with the panel on the table, just like that, battery connected, you can connect the motor up. You've got your radio on hand. You can put that on. Beeping should stop. Okay, take this off for a moment. Okay, so we've got this sound. That means what that's telling you is that the speed controller is not calibrated to the remote. That would happen if you also change the speed controller. So for now, we basically disconnect. To calibrate the throttle level, you simply hold the throttle to the top like that, keep it there, and at that moment in time you connect, leave it like that, connect it, double beep, drop it down, single beep, there we go. And now it's now calibrated, so if I disconnect and reconnect, I get the normal startup tone. Right, so now I need to hold the motor off the ground, obviously, and I just use my finger to keep it sharp in case I can hear lots of clicking sounds. But I can also tell at the moment that the shaft is turning backwards. It must turn clockwise. So we're going to swap those two around, or two of these around. That way. Okay, so let's check with the right direction. Motor will spin this way, but the shaft will spin that way because of the gear. Okay, in the right direction, but it's making an awful noise. So we go back here, open it apart a little bit. So why we get that noise is the side which was close is still too close, so the gear is actually touching on this gear. It's supposed to feather in between the teeth as opposed to actually physically touch, especially deep in the pitch of the gear. Feels a little better. There. It's a bit touchy-feely, and so you will spend some time with this. There we go. Knocking is gone. Okay, and again, importantly, these are not high-speed racing gears, fine teeth. They're very chunky, very big, very solid, and they're there for torque and power. They're not like your racing bicycles, fine tooth gear that sounds wood. They may have a bit of a sound, more sound than you may have anticipated, but that's what they do sound like. As long as you haven't got any knocking sounds or clucking sounds, that's perfect. You can check it this way also. Put that on. Sounds great. Okay, this is an important step, an important aspect. If this bush and the bush in the base plate did become overheated, it's conceivable that it may have expanded onto the shaft, and you may find that it binds on the shaft, means that your motor has to work hard just to turn the gear. So normally you use a reamer, 6.1 mil reamer. If you don't have one, a 6.1 mil sharp new drill bit will work. Basically just push it through. Now the fluted part of a drill is actually where the 6.1 is measured. It drops away slightly along the spiral. So square to the front, just put that in, and you can just twist it like that, making sure that your 6.1 is what's biting. Take it all the way through the back bush and do the same thing. Just basically turn it like that and make sure that the 6.1 mil drill bit is clearing a good path for your shaft. Now, unlike brass, we don't use any metal on this because it's a plastic box. So we're using a material that doesn't conduct heat. It's got, it doesn't conduct heat. If we had used a metal set of bushes, we'd have to change the entire box system, and this actually works for us very, very well. So as long as the gear can be turned in there, once you've opened it again and you put your gear in, okay, you can't spin it by itself, but you can actually feel you've got nice, easy easy in-out movement, a minute or two to play. Slight left and right movement, just the smallest amount is what you need, and the motor spins easily in the hand. Rev it again. We're very happy with that.